Okay, so let us then start the week 4 tutorial for solving the assignments for week 4. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen, and as you know, I'll be going through the questions one by one. I'll be reading them first and then I'll show you how to solve them, right? So let's get started with the first question, that a man raises a 15 kg joist of length 4 meter by pulling on a rope. So there is a diagram also below that you can see for the purpose of demonstrating what the question is to you. I think the diagram is much more helpful. So there is a man who is actually pulling on this rod kind of a thing that is touching the ground at this point A. Okay, so this is the contact point of this thing, this rod sort of thing with the ground. This contact point is A, and this is a rope with which the man is pulling that rod kind of a sort of a thing. And now what is there? The information that is mentioned to you is that the length of that rod sort of a thing, which is called as joist here, is 4 meter, and the total weight or mass of that thing is 15 kg, right? And then it is asked to you that what is the tension in that rope, and it is also mentioned that you have to take the gravitational constant as g, which is 9.81 meter per second square, and then assume that the joist is at rest and ignore the mass of the rope. So these are some assumptions you have to consider. This is to simplify the problem, basically, that you do not have to consider any motion of this rod. It is at rest, you can assume, and also you can ignore the mass of the rope. So this rope, this is ideally considered to be massless, so that only force that can act for this rope is the tension of the rope, because the man is pulling from the other end. So the only force that can act here is the tension, right? The tension, or we can say it is T. That is the only force that can act here. Other than that, there is no other force that can be acting from the rope, right? Now, there is a hint that is mentioned for this problem. So because this is the first problem, so there is an elaborate hint that they have mentioned to you. So let us also read that and then get started with the solution of our problem. Now the hint is that in this problem you need to analyze both force and torque balance. This is very obvious because till now all kind of mechanical equilibrium sort of problems you have come across, they either have this force balance condition that is mandatory, and there are some cases where you have some torque kind of a situation, and you know that torque appears when there is an application of force, and that force is with respect to some reference point, or that is mostly considered as the origin point for the calculation purposes. So with respect to that reference point, when there is a force that is applied, and that basically creates a torque which can actually create a rotational motion. So force that cannot rotate in that sense, it is just for a translational sort of motion, but torque can also produce a rotational motion of that object. And when you are saying that your whole system is in mechanical equilibrium or balance, then you have to balance the net force and the net torque for that whole system. So basically, whenever you are being said that a given system is in mechanical equilibrium or at rest, then you have to assume that there must be the force balance condition and torque balance condition satisfied for this problem. That is what you have been asked here as a hint to solve this question, that you have to use the force and torque balance conditions. Now recall how to draw free body diagram, and this is very important for these kind of mechanical Newtonian mechanics problems. The diagram does half of the solving, right? So we have to do free body diagrams, and also there most of the like solutions there also, that diagram drawing also includes some partial marking, right? So you have to get the diagram right. That solves only half of your problem. And then there are three distinct physical forces in this problem. So they have clearly mentioned that the only required forces are three for this problem, which are: number one, the gravitational interaction between the joist and the earth, creating weight of the joist. So basically there should be, because that joist has a mass of 15 kg and there is a gravitational acceleration g that is there, so that will produce some weight, which is basically m times g, mass times gravitational acceleration, which is the weight of the joist that is acting on the earth, right? And there is also the contact force between the ground and the joist at the contact point A. So like I marked here, the contact point, the only contact point for this joist and the arc is this point A. So obviously whenever there is a contact point, there has to be some perpendicular contact force of that object with respect to the base, right? So that perpendicular to the base, basically base. So that is your reaction force, contact force. Somehow sometimes it is mentioned, it is written down as N, sometimes people prefer to write down as R, whatever, right? This is the contact force, you can say. Okay, so I'll write down this as M, right? N is our contact force, and this mg is the gravitational balancing, like weight for that object, for that that rod or joist. And because the rope is massless, so you don't have to consider the weight of that rope. This basically that simplifies your problem to some extent. Then force number 3 is that the pull by the man on the rope creating tension in the rope. So the third type of force acting here will be the tension of the rope, which is produced because the man is pulling from the other end of the rope. Now out of these three, only the weight of the joist is known, right? This is the only known quantity. The other two forces are self-adjusting unknown response forces. So that is not, there is no direct information given to you for those forces. You have to find those out. Now you can find them by applying the conditions of force and torque balance and solving the resultant equations. Note that the contact force by the ground on the joist, which is N in our case, has both horizontal and vertical components, which are in general not equal. So you have to divide your contact force in two components. One is, let's say, Nx, and the other is, let's say, Ny. So this is the horizontal and this is the vertical component of the contact force acting at the contact point A between the joist and the ground. And it is considered in the question that in general Nx is not equal to Ny. So you cannot simplify the problem taking both the components are equal. So those are basically different components, they are non-equal. Note that also by using the rope mechanism and support from the ground force, a man need to exert a pull which is much lower than the weight of the joist. So once these information and this kind of hint is given to us, now we will start working out our problem based on this question or this particular diagram that will help you figure out how you should consider your torque balance and force balance conditions for the entire problem. Now let us remember the diagram here. Basically rod and this rope. So there is a tension T, this angle is 25, this angle is 45, and this is 4 meter. So let us now choose our blank page and start solving it. So this is our question number 1. So let's say this is our ground was something drawn as this, and there was this rod sort of a object. So sorry. So this is your rod, and there is another like rope that is hanging from here. And sorry, I should not draw it like a carved line because that will create more confusion. So let's say this is some straight line only, right? And there is a man that is pulling down this rope, and this is your contact point which we mark. This is your contact point with the ground or arc. This is the only contact point, that is point A, right? And now let us take the angles that was mentioned in the question. So if you remember, this angle was, they had mentioned it to be 25 degree. and this angle was mentioned by in the question as 45 degree, and this rod's length or this joist length was given as 4 meter. So 4 meter is basically this length. This length is 4 meter. Right. Now, because there should be multiple components of forces, basically 3 components of forces that will be acting in this question. So first of all, let us consider the pull force, because of the man is pulling from the rope here. So yes, yeah. So this is your rope where the man is pulling, and so because the man is pulling towards him, so the force or the tension because of that pulling will be acting down this direction along the rope. So this tension we call it as T, right? Now, okay, so there is another force, that is this weight of that whole, that whole rod, because you have to take the center of mass, right? Because the whole rod, its equivalent weight will be acting down effectively from its center of mass point. So this is the center of mass of the joist or the rod structure here, and sorry, so center of mass will be sitting exactly at the middle of the whole length of the joist, right? So if this is 4 meter in total, so this point to this point, let's say we call this center of mass point as O. So then AO is equal to 2 meter, whereas if this point is B, which is the other end of the joist, so the total length of the joist is 4 meter as given in the question. 4 meter is 1 second. This is 4 meter, and the center of mass point is exactly sitting midway, so this is half of that, so this is 2 meter, right? Now, so the other kind of effective force that will be important here is the gravitational force or weight, right? So this is your gravitational force, which is basically m times g, because of the mass of the rod or joist. So this mg will be acting down here. Now, for our convenience, we call one sec. For our convenience, we call what is happening? Okay. So let us call this point as B and this point as E. Okay. So this AB is known to us, AO is known to us, half of that, but we do not know exactly what is AE or AD. This is the horizontal distances. So from the end of the rod, if it touches the ground by a vertical line, an imaginary vertical line, so that distance is considered by the horizontal length of AD. And from the mid or center point of the rod, if you draw a horizontal distance or length, then this length is AE basically. So these are the other 2 points. Now, this mg is the gravitational force acting downwards because of the weight of the entire rod acting down effectively from its center of mass point, right? Now, in the question, this m is mentioned or given to you. This m is 15 kg for the joist. Okay, and g is the gravitational acceleration, which is 9.8 meter per second square in SI unit. So this weight of the joist acting down effectively from the center of mass point O is equal to mg is equal to 15 into 9.8. This SI unit m into g will be so it is a force. So basically in SI the forces unit is Newton. So it is in Newton. So this you can get the exact value by multiplying it. Now, so this is the one of those forces that is acting here. So this is the weight force which is mg. Okay, so this is the force 1 that is mentioned in the question. Now force 2 here we have already drawn. This is the tension on the rope. Now we can always divide this tension into two components, right? Because it is acting along the rope's length, so it should have some horizontal and vertical components as well, right? So we can divide into two components. So for that it will be easier for us to get this angle. So what is this angle? This will be very easy to calculate, that if this angle is 45 degree, then you know by the rule of this parallelogram sort of thing, if this is the 45 degree angle, so this whole angle will also be 45 degree. Now out of this whole 45 degree angle, this smaller angle is 25 degree. So what is this rest of the angle? This is simply 45 minus 25, which is like 20 degree, right? So this angle you can say this is your 20 degree angle, right? Now you can observe here that this tension T along the rope has two components. One is in the horizontal direction, which is T cos 20 degree, and the other is in the vertical direction downwards, which is T sin 20 degree, right? So you can say this is your force number 2. From tension T along the rope due to the man pulling it down. Now it has two components, T along x is T cos 20 degree and along y is T sin 20 degree. Now if you have to be very critical, then you can also consider the sign of the axis. So this is the positive x axis and this is the positive y axis. So anything in this direction will be minus x cap, and anything is in the downwards direction will be minus y cap, right? This is simple. So this is clear. Now the third force that can be effective for this problem and also mentioned in the hint is the contact force, right? Contact force acting at A, which is the only contact point, due to the contact of the joist with the ground. This is force number 3. Now, so we can call this contact force as, so basically we can draw this contact force. How should it look like? So maybe I will use this color for the contact force. So you know, whenever there is a contact of the body with the ground, so always the contact force will be acting perpendicular to the point where it touches the ground. So let me draw more clearly or in a better way. Sorry, I think I wiped out a bit more than I should have, but anyway, so this contact force I was trying to draw. So this will look like this. assume that this is a perpendicular straight line, which I may not have drawn very accurately or in a straight way, but this is your contact force N, right? N is your contact force. So remember the idea of contact force, right? Like let's say if this is a body and if this is sitting exactly in plane with the base, then it is less complicated because the weight is in the downward direction exactly mg, and the contact force is exactly balancing out that vertically downwards weight. So it is basically vertically upwards from that point. So this is, if there are no other forces, then N equal to mg obviously in the vertical direction. They will be balancing out each other. But if there is a slope like this, I think you have already encountered such problems where there is a slope and on top of that there is some weight or some body sitting in which has a mass m. So then its weight will be acting downwards exactly along the y cap direction, parallel to the y direction like this. If this is your x cap and this is your y cap, so this is acting along the minus y cap direction exactly, because the gravitational weight or gravitational acceleration will always be acting in the y cap direction, always be in the along the y axis in the downward direction. So mg will be in that direction. But the contact force in that case N will not be along the same line as this. I mean, if you confuse it and try to draw the N force like this like this blue dashed line here, so this is not the right direction of N. This is not N. Contact force cannot act like that. Rather, what I am drawing now with this purple colored or whatever color this is, this color, this is the actual direction of your contact force, which is N. This is correct, and this blue was the wrong line. Why it is acting like this? Because the contact point or touch point is here. So here the touch point is A, which is this point. And from this point, if your object is like this on a slope, and your base on which the object is in contact is basically like this slanted plane, which is this line. So always the contact force rule is that always it will be perpendicular to the point of contact of that body and the base plane. So in this case, because it is a slanted plane, so it's from the point of contact, if you draw perpendicular to the whole thing, then it will be acting in this direction, not in the exact y cap direction upwards, but with some angle to the y cap and x cap component. It has both x cap and y cap directions. But the idea is that the contact force is, how it is defined or how it is directed, is based on how the body or the object is in contact with the corresponding plane, right? So this is your contact force in this case. So like taking the idea from there, you know that if this is your mass object, which is this rod here, this orange black dashed rod, okay, so its contact to the ground is solely through this point A. So the perpendicular direction to this, so in this case your object is like this. So you can think your object is like this and your ground or base plane is like this. So just one second. Okay, so we have already started. I was just trying to solve to you the question number 1, which is this question. So I was defining the different kind of forces over here. Okay, so you can join from here, you can start listening in from here. So basically I can briefly explain or repeat what I was trying to convey, is that on this whole diagram there are 3 forces as mentioned in the hint of the question, that there are 3 forces that is acting in this question. Okay, and because the whole system is in mechanical equilibrium, because you have been asked that the whole system is at rest, so you have to assume that there is some mechanical equilibrium that is there. So the condition of mechanical equilibrium is that you have to balance the force and the torque both. So the net force in the system will have to be 0, and the net torque in the system will also have to be 0, so that there is neither translational motion nor some rotational motion, and the whole body stays at rest. So that was our whole idea. And these are the forces that will be relevant here. One is this tension along the rope, which is there because the man is pulling down the rope. So this is the tension T. This is one force. Then we can always divide this tension into two components along the horizontal and the vertical directions for our convenience, because we like to divide component wise and then solve the net force balance conditions. So we have divided into cos theta and sin theta components with properly taking the theta angle, which is in this case this angle 20 degree, right? And then there was this mass of the, so this rod or joist thing had a mass, and there is this gravitational acceleration g, so it will have an effective weight m times g, which will be acting exactly from the center of mass of the joist, which is the midpoint of the joist. So this is the midpoint, which we call as O, and from the point O vertically downwards will be the weight, effective weight m times g, right? These are two forces. And the third force I was talking about is the contact force, which is happening because the only point of contact of this joist with the ground is this point A. So from this point A, perpendicular to the joist, so if you, how do you draw the point of contact force? So basically your object is this rod. So you can extend your object, you can imagine your object like this. Let's say this black box I am drawing is your object, just for the sake of it, imagine. And then it is in contact with the ground like this. Okay, so your base plane is like this and you have a object like this. So what will be the contact force looking like? So it will be on some angle, because it will always be perpendicular to the contact point from the object. So I have drawn it like this. N is your contact force, and because it is at some angle with the x and y axis, so it will always have some horizontal and vertical components as well. So that component, we consider that there is a vertical component, which is, let's say we call it N1. Sorry, please unmute. Please mute yourself because it is causing a huge echo in the whole meeting. Yeah, right. You have not muted, so I will mute you. Right. So let us go back to our solution. Now, so this has a vertical component ny, and the horizontal component should be here, which we will call as nx, right? This is the horizontal and vertical components. Now, once these are set, so the contact force we have renamed it as n in our problem, which is acting at the contact point, and it has two components along the horizontal direction nx and the vertical direction ny, right? Now all the forces are defined. Hi, do you have any questions? If you have, please ask, because your unmuting yourself is basically causing. Hello. So I don't know if there is a connection error from your side, but I am anyway muting it because it is causing interruption. You can ask at the end of this problem or end of the class. Okay. Okay, I think there is a connection error from that side. Let us continue where we are. So this is nx and ny components that we have already defined. Now that everything is set, now let us use the force balance and torque balance conditions, right? So our idea is that for the entire system to be in mechanical equilibrium, basically at rest, we will need force balance, which is the entire net force to be 0 in the system, and torque balance, which is the total torque equal to 0 in the system. Now, so because F is a vector, right? So it can have both x component and y component. If you consider it like a 2D plane for now. So based on the force balance condition, the entire component along x, which is the net Fx, will also be 0, and the net Fy will also be 0 separately. Okay. So now let us deal with first this horizontal component of the force and set the net force equal to 0. So let us find out what are the horizontal component of forces present in the problem. Okay, let us look at that. First of all, there is this one force, which is this T cos 20 degree, which you can see that it is acting in the left horizontal direction, which is basically your minus x cap, because it is horizontal and it is towards the left, so it is minus x cap. And the only other horizontal force acting in this problem is this nx, right? Now looking at the question, nx, looking at the direction of the arrow, nx is also in the minus x direction, but because you have this force balance condition and there is no other force acting in this question, so obviously the obvious answer will be that if there is an effective force in the minus x direction, so to balance that or to make the net force 0 along the x direction, you need to have some force in the plus x direction to kind of balance or cancel that out, right? So even if we have drawn this nx in the minus x arrow direction, but actually to balance this T cos 20 degree force, which is already in the negative x direction, your nx will be in the plus x direction rather. So this is the force balance condition. So this means that basically your minus T cos 20 degree is one force plus nx equal to 0. Or the first condition is that the horizontal component of the contact force nx is equal to T cos 20 degree. Okay, so this is your condition number 1, let's say. This is coming from the force balance conditions, and right now because force is a vector, so we are dividing in components, and component by component will also be maintaining the force balance. So the net force is balanced in the x cap component direction, and this is our condition number 1. So this is giving us this equation number 1. Now condition number 2 is the net force along the y direction is also 0 by force balance. So net Fy is equal to 0. Now let us find out what are the vertical component of forces acting in this problem, in this free body diagram. So one is this force T sin 20 degree coming from the tension again, but this is in vertically downwards direction, so this is basically minus y cap. Now there is other force, this is mg. Mg is the weight of the joist, so this is also acting downwards, so this is also in the minus y cap direction. And the rest one force that is also in the vertical direction is this force Ny, which is in the plus or vertically upwards direction, so this is plus y cap. So Ny plus y cap is balancing out T sin 20 degree minus y cap and Mg minus y cap, right? So your net Fy will be T sin 20 degree. This is in the minus y cap direction, and in the same direction there is this Mg force. So both forces are in the minus y cap direction. This is balancing out with the plus y cap directional force of the contact force is Ny. These are cancelling out or balancing out each other. So this is condition number 2 is giving us equation number 2. Now force balance conditions are already used up. So there is this torque balance condition, which we call as our condition number 3, which is saying that net torque equal to 0. This means that net R cross F equal to 0, right? So what is R? R is basically you have a reference point O here, and with respect to that you have some force applied at some distance, some point A, which is sitting at a distance r vector from with respect to O. So here a force F is acting like this. In this case, it is acting perpendicular exactly to the distance OA. So then your torque will be like OA cross F, which is R cross F, and because it is a torque, it is with respect to some reference point. With respect to the reference point here is O. Okay. So based on this concept, since you have already that concept, so I will be directly giving you what are the different forces and the torques produced by that. So if you look at component by component again, then you see that here the forces that will be effectively creating a torque is basically some force that is at some application distance with respect to this contact point A. So A is serving a major role here because A is the only point of contact with the ground, right? So any torque will be taking the point A as the reference point. So in this case, any force that is at some distance, applied at some distance with respect to A, will be having an effective torque. In that sense, you see that these forces Nx and Ny both are in the same point, starting at the same point as the contact point A. So their distance from the contact point is effectively 0. So they will not be generating any torque. Right? So these are out of the options. Now the other forces which are at some distance, effective distance from the contact point A, are this T sin theta force, okay, this mg force, and also this T cos 20 degree force. These are some forces which are at some application point distance, and this will be generating an effective torque. Now let us try one by one. Let's say for this force mg y cap, right? So mg y cap is acting vertically downwards, and this is at some distance. If you consider because this force is exactly in the y cap direction, and you know that for the torque to be effective, because there is a cross product involved, so cross product gives you sine theta, where theta is the angle between r and f vectors. So because the f vector is exactly y cap, so for that sine theta component to be non-zero or to be exactly perpendicular, then your theta has to be 90 degree. And so your distance, application distance r vector has to be along x direction, which is this direction, right? So in this case, your r vector is basically A to E, which is your AE vector, is your r vector for this force mg with respect to the contact point A. Similarly, for the effective force of T sin 20 degree along minus y cap, this is acting from the point B to downwards direction. But with respect to the application point of force or the reference point A, this is at some distance, application distance, causing an effective application vector, r vector, is basically your AD vector. It is acting from A towards D, and from D point effectively, basically, which is vertically connecting down to this B point, is basically there is a downward directional force. This is T sin 20 degree. But the perpendicular distance from the application point and the connection or the contact point is basically A to D. AD vector is your effective r vector in this case. And the other component of force is T cos 20 degree, which is in the vertical or the horizontal direction, x cap. So in this case, you have to take the vertical distance from the point of contact to the application point. So what is the vertical effective distance? Is basically this distance, B to D, right? But because you have to consider everything with respect to your reference point, therefore you have to consider the distance from A to B, which when taken vertically, it is basically D to B. So D to B is effectively your another r vector when you are taking the cos 20 degree T component of force. So what are the different force components? So one is this. The first one for mg force is basically A to E, AE vector as r vector cross minus mg y cap as your force vector. So the first thing is AE vector cross mg minus y cap is your coming from the weight. This is the torque coming from the weight. Plus, now another was that this T sin 20 degree has this effective vector as AD vector, and this is T sin 20 degree at minus y cap direction. So this is AD vector into cross T sine 20 degree at minus y cap direction. Then there is plus T cos 20 degree, right? And the vertical distance is D to B. So dB vector cross T cos 20 degree minus x cap. So what is this? Is basically plus dB vector cross T cos 20 degree minus x cap. This whole thing is equal to 0. So your AE vector is basically nothing but the AD by 2, because your whole distance is AD. Then center of mass is sitting right at the mid. So this AD by 2 is equal to your AE. So this is AD by 2 distance wise, and if you take direction wise, then this is x cap plus x cap. Then there is this mg is basically 15 kg into 9.8 in Newton into minus y cap, right? Then there is this AD, this distance in the, as a scalar quantity, and the direction is plus x cap cross T. Now if you have to consider what is sine 20 degree, then you can use your calculator, and sine 20 degree is something like T into 0.34 approximately. And here the direction is minus y cap plus this dB distance is basically your vertical distance, which is along plus y cap. So dB is the vertical distance into the direction is y cap cross T. Now we have to again calculate using your calculator. Cos 20 degree is basically T times 0.94 almost approximately, and this is along minus x cap. This whole thing is equal to 0. Now here first of all let us take the direction first. So x cap cross minus y cap is basically y cap cross x cap is equal to minus z cap. Again x cap cross minus y cap is like again my y cap cross x cap is equal to minus z cap. Then this has minus y cap cross x cap equal to basically x cap cross y cap is equal to plus z cap. So these two are in the minus z cap direction, and this is in the plus z cap direction. So the whole thing is balancing out. Now you have to know what are these terms, which is AD and dB, and the only otherwise unknown constant is T, which is basically your tension in the rope that is asked, that you are asked to solve in the question. So the only unknown factor, and to calculate that out we have to also put down the values of AD and dB, right? So let us look at the diagram and figure out what are those values. So AD is basically this distance, right? So this is a triangle, okay, right angle triangle, which is this angle is 90 degree. So considering this triangle A, D, B, this is the right angle triangle, but this angle is 90 degree, right? So if this is 90 degree and this is 45 degree, then the rest of the angle is also 45 degree. Why? Because the entire angle set of addition of all angles in a triangle is 180 degree. So if this is 90, this should be 40, this is 45, so this should also be 45. So this is 45 degree. Now if this AB is 4 meter and this angle is 45 degree, then easily you can say that your cos 45 degree with respect to this angle, cos 45 degree is, this is your base and this is your, so cos is base by this AB. So basically this is dB by AB, or dB is equal to AB, you know that 4, dB is equal to 4 cos 45. Similarly, sin 45 degrees is this arm by this arm. So this is AD by AB, and AD is equal to, AB is 4, so AB times sine 45. So DB is cos 44 cos 45 degree and AD is 4 sine 45 degree. So here you can put those values. So AD was 4 sine 45 degree. So this is 4 sine 45 degree by 2 into 15 into 9.8 minus z cap plus 4 sine 45 degree to t into 0.34 minus z cap plus dB is 4 cos 45 degree into t into 0.94 plus z cap equal to 0. So from here you can get that. So this is basically 4, this term I am considering first, 4 1 cos 45 degrees 1 by root over of 2 into t into 0.94, and you take the rest of the negative terms to the other side, which is or we can keep the t terms towards the same side so that we can calculate and take the t common out. So t sine 45 degrees also root over 2, 1 by root over 2, then 0.34 is equal to, this comes to the other side and becomes positive. So this is 4 by 2 root over 2 into 50 into 9.8. So this is 4 by 2 into root over 2 into 50 into 9.8. So this is 207.89. Okay. So if that is the case, then you take the t common here from this side, and then 4 into 0.94 divided by root over of 2 is basically 2.66 minus 4 into 0.34 divided by root over of 2 is 0.96 is equal to 207.89. So t is basically 207.89 divided by 2.66 minus 0.96, which is nearly 122 Newton. So this is the tension on the rope that we have calculated in this question. I think this is what you are asked, is that what is the tension in the rope. So we get the answer. So 122 point something Newton is the closest to 123 Newton. So this is your correct answer, right? So this is the correct answer also. We are getting it right. Then there is another part to this question in question number 2, is that in figure of question 1, what is the magnitude of the contact force by the ground on the joist at point A? So basically at point A, the contact force is divided into two components, Nx and Ny. And to get the contact force, you have to basically get its magnitude. So basically you have to take root over of Nx squared plus Ny squared, right? We know that magnitude of such force can be written down as its magnitude of the horizontal and vertical components, like this. So now we have to know Nx and Ny to get this. So that we already have from this earlier equations. We have Nx equal to t cos 20 degree, which is like t is now 123 Newton. So 123 into cos 20 degree is 0.94. So 123 into 0.94 is equal to 115.62 Newton. So this is the force unit and not the N, that is the reaction force or the contact force that is acting here. But this Ny equal to this mg is 15 into 0.8 plus this is 123 into sine 20 degree, only 0.34, which is like 123 into 0.34 into 9.8. This is 115.62 and 188.82. So we take a square. We take a square of these 115.62 and 188.82. This is 188.8. So I have calculated it using the calculator. This is coming around 221 newtons. So this is the net contact force that man has to apply by pulling the force to make or keep the system's equilibrium or at equilibrium or maintaining its balance in equilibrium condition. So this is the net contact force, which is 221 newton. Now it should match with the earlier question problem. All right. Okay. So our question number 1 and 2 are solved. Now question number 3 is basically for the beam. There is in the image there is a beam that is shown, and you have to calculate the net moment, means the moment of force, that basically is the torque, about the point O, where about the point A. A point is here. So about this reference point, you have to calculate the moment of force, which is the torque basically. And there are some forces acting either in the vertically upwards or downwards direction, which are this, and this one. And here the distances are also mentioned in meters, and you have been asked that plus y cap is the vertically upwards direction, so this is y cap. Then this will be your x cap, and so z cap is basically in 3D. It will be perpendicular to the page, and it will be pointing. It will be pointing outwards, means not this. So this is plus z cap direction with the. So this is like perpendicularly pointing outwards from the page. So these are the 3 dimensions. Now we have to calculate the torque with the magnitude and the direction as well. So that is then after that the correct answer you have to choose. So first of all, let me just get the values. So right, so there is 150, 600, 100 and 250, and then this is 1.6, 1.2 and 2. 1.6, 1.2 and 2. So let us draw now below the free body diagram for this. So you have this entire beam. Okay, so this is the uniform beam. So this is your reference point from where you have to calculate the torque. Here you have a 150 Newton force acting upward. So this is plus y cap. Now at some point here there is a 600 Newton force acting downward. So this is minus y cap is the direction. Then again at some point later there is this upward force which is 100 Newton, which is vertically upward. So this is plus y cap. And then again at the end there is vertically downwards force of 250 Newton, which is minus y cap. Now this distance is I think it was 1.6. Then I forgot this one. I have to look for this. So these two distances were 1.2 and 2 meter. 1.6, 1.2 and 2. 1.2 meter and 2 meter. So now with respect to A point, the moment of force is equal to basically torque. The formula is R cross F, where R is defined with respect to the reference point to the application of force point. Now naturally, because this 150 Newton force is acting right at the reference point A, so this will not have any contribution to the torque, because here there is no R vector, R is 0. So this will not contribute. So we'll first eliminate this force. This will not act in the moment of force contribution. Now for the second one, you take your R vector from the reference point to the application of force point. Let's say this point is P, this point is Q, and let's say this point is R. So you have to take here the R vector. First of all, it is AP vector from A to P cross 600 minus y cap. So AP vector is nothing but your magnitude is known 1.6 meter, and because it is in the plus x direction, so it is plus x cap. Then for the second force is 100 Newton, is sitting at a distance 1.6 plus 1.2, which is basically 2.8, and this is AQ vector. The magnitude is 2.8 meter and direction is plus x cap. So plus x cap cross 100 Newton in plus y cap direction. Plus, then you have this force acting downwards 250 Newton at point R. So your AR vector is basically 1 plus 1.6 plus 1.2 plus 2. So basically 2.8 plus 2 is 4.8 meter in the plus x cap direction. Cross, you have 250 minus y cap, right? So this is your force, and now you just have to take the cross product and otherwise the multiplicative value. So first case is minus x cap cross y cap is y cap cross z cap, which is basically, sorry, this is y cap cross x cap, so this is basically effectively minus z cap. Then this is x cap cross y cap, which is plus z cap, and the third one is again minus x cap cross y cap, which is y cross x, which is minus z. So the first case is giving 1.6 into 600 is basically your minus 960 z cap plus 2.8 into 100 is basically 280 plus 280 z cap. Then again minus 4.8 into 250, which is minus 1200 z cap. So the net value will be 1200 plus 960 minus 280, which is minus 1880 z cap. This is your torque or the moment of force. This is the magnitude, and this is the direction is minus z cap. So this is in Newton meter because it is force times distance, right? So let us choose our correct answer. So our answer correct is this one, minus z cap direction, and 1880 Newton into meter is a value. So this is done. Now question number 4 says that figure shows a beam clamped at one end. So this is a beam which is clamped at the end A. The red curves shown shows the external load per unit length that the beam is designed to support. Now the beam is designed in a way that per unit length there is some fixed or some assigned weight that the beam can support, and that is basically a function of the distance x. So along this direction is your x cap direction and this is your y cap direction. So per unit length, per unit x distance, or for the entire length of L of the beam, for unit length you can divide such independent like unit areas in length, and for each such unit length there is some assigned load value that is defined for the beam to support, and there is a particularly mentioned that this how much weight per unit length it can support is basically a sine wave function. You can see that this is a sine wave. The red curve is a sine wave. Now if the system shown is in mechanical equilibrium, then the vertical reaction force at A is what? So now as the system is in mechanical equilibrium, that says that there is no additional unbalanced force present in this case, so net force is 0. Okay, so that means the total F vector is 0. That also means if you only take the component of y of the force, that will also be summed up to be 0. So in this case of a beam, there is two vertical components. One is this effective weight of that beam, which is acting downwards, mg. So there is no mention about the mass of the beam or anything, so we can avoid that easily. But there is some information given to us that per unit length how much load the beam can actually support. So just 1 second. So yeah, so as I was saying that there is this information given to you that there is certain load assigned for unit length of the beam, right? So given that information that is present with us, so there is also this reaction or reaction force that will be acting here, because there is this vertically downwards weight. So there will also be a vertically upwards reaction force, which we can call it as N, right? And that will be acting as the support A, because that is the only point of contact. And you know that any object which has some mass or some weight, so if so you can think of it like if this is, like, say there is some vertically downwards weight, so to balance that at the point of contact, that will also have some reaction force or some contact force. So in this case the contact force is N, let's say. So you have to find out what is the vertical component of that force. So in this case, what is N? So N will be basically all the force that is acting vertically upwards. Right? And because the system is mechanical equilibrium, that means this action or vertical reaction force will be exactly equal to the amount of vertical load that the total length of the beam can support actually. So total length of the beam is designed to support. So for this question, first of all, let us start with question number 4. So there is this beam and this is a sine wave. So this is the amplitude maximum load is given, which is the amplitude of the sine wave W naught as mentioned in the question, and this is the entire beam. Okay, this is the point of contact A. Now for per unit length, there is some assigned maximum load that it is designed to support. Sorry, this is a sine wave. So if you have to define what is this function of the sine wave form, so we call it Wx, right? Because this is your x direction, and the load that is vertically it is designed to support, let us call it W. So this is Wx, that is the shape of the curve. So what is Wx? Because it is already mentioned that it is a sine wave, you can say that this is some amplitude times some sine function. Now the amplitude is W naught, because this is the midpoint where the maximum load was drawn. So this is W naught, the amplitude of the sine wave, and then it will be sine pi x by L. Why? Because this entire length is L, right? So this is x equal to 0 and this point is x equal to L. Now just look at the sign of the shape of the sine wave. If you put x equal to 0 in this function, so sine 0 is basically 0, right? So then Wx becomes 0. So as you can see from this diagram, that here W is 0. But on the other end, where x equal to L, if you plug that in, so this is basically sine pi L by L, L and N cancelling out, sine pi is again 0. So again Wx is becoming 0. So at this point also you can see the W is 0. But at x equal to mid, that is L by 2, which is this point, this is at L by 2 from both ends. This is x equal to L by 2. Here if you plug in, so this is sine pi times L by 2 into 1 by L. This L and N cancelling out. So this is sine pi by 2 is 1. So this is sine pi by 2 equal to 1. So then Wx becomes W naught into 1 equal to W naught, which is the amplitude part. So this is also correct, that this is here the Wx value is W naught. Wx equal to L by 2 equal to W naught, and here Wx equal to L is 0 and W at x equal to 0 equals 0. Now if that is the case, then you can say that okay, this is the actual expression for the sine wave representing the, this is the load per unit length the beam is designed to support. Now because this is a vertical force, so to keep the system in equilibrium, vertical reaction force from the beam at the point of contact A is equal to basically the, let us call this force N. This is basically the total load acting for the entire length from x equal to 0 to x equal to L. So Wx was your load per length, right? Load per length, and when you multiply or integrate with a length dimension, so this becomes the entire vertical load supported by the beam. So this becomes, now just you have to put the expression for Wx, which is, we just have written it down. So this is W naught sine pi x by L dx. Now W naught is a constant, so it comes outside, and sine, when you integrate it, it gives you minus cos pi x by L, and because this is pi x by L, so there is also a divided by pi by L factor. And this is taken from x equal to 0 to L. So this is W naught L by pi with a minus sign from here, and then you plug in cos of pi L by L, which is cos pi minus cos of 0. So this is giving you W naught L by pi with a minus sign, with a minus sign. Then cos pi is minus 1 and cos 0 is again minus 1. So this is minus and minus making it plus. This is 2 W naught L by pi, right? Right, alright. So this is your answer for the vertical reaction force component. This is also the correct answer. Okay, so we have obtained the answer. Okay. Now there is this question number 5, which tells you that you have a frame ACDE in the figure. So this is your frame, like a SSB, this ACDE, this is your frame, like a flagpole sort of a thing, and it supports part of the roof of a small building. Now you choose a coordinate system with its origin at E. So E is your origin, this is 0, 0. And EF is your x-axis, where plus x is towards right. So this is your x-axis, this is plus x cap. Okay, and ED is as your y-axis. So along ED is your vertically plus y cap direction. Now suppose a whole system, that is frame ACD plus cable BDF. So this is a cable blue colored BDF, right? Which is also, there is a pulley sort of a thing pulling it down. And this whole system is in mechanical equilibrium. This is important. That means there should be force and torque balance. And the contact force by the ground on the frames is F equal to some minus 90 along x cap direction and plus 200 along y cap direction. Ignore the mass of the cable so that you may assume uniform tension. So this cable mass is avoided, right? So then the magnitude of the tension in the cable is what? So first of all, because this cable is pulling like this, so this is pulling downwards, right? So the tension will be acting in the downwards direction. So you can extend this tension component as this T, which is the tension in that cable BDF. Okay, and this should be a straight line. So I should draw it more carefully maybe. Let's say this is, no, not this. Basically you extend this line only. So this is along the length of the cable. So this is your T, right? This is the tension in the cable. And the other forces acting in these cases are these forces mentioned here in the diagram from the beam. Beam has a weight in the downwards direction at different points. There are different forces at different distances, and x and y axis are defined. And also there is another force, which is the contact force F by the ground on the frame. So it has minus 90 kilo Newton in the x cap and plus 200 kilo Newton in the y cap direction, right? So yeah, so once you have this, so you know that you have, so this is your frame touching the ground, this is your contact point E. So this contact has a component of force in the in the x direction and in the y direction. So x direction is basically minus 90 kilonewton x cap. So this is in the negative y direction. So this is, let's say this force is Fy is equal to minus 90 kilonewton x cap. Sorry, not Fy, but this is Fx basically, and other force is Fy, which is plus 200 kilonewton y cap. Because this is in the plus direction, so this is upwards vertically, and because it is in the negative x cap, so we draw it in the towards the left, right? So this is there. Now we have to choose the balancing conditions because the system is told to be mechanical equilibrium. So what should be the balancing conditions? Again, the force and torque balance has to be used. So question number 5 is that the force and torque balance says that the net x component of force is 0 and net y component of force is also 0. First, let us deal with what is the net x component of force. Now, if I, let's say, draw the diagram here overall in a rough manner, because you have always have to draw a free body diagram for this kind of problems. So this was your beam. Okay. This was your beam. And this was your rope or pulley that has this rope tied on. This rope is down like this. This is your tension in the rope T. Okay. This is the tension in the rope, which is T. And this is the contact force acting here, which is Fy in this direction. And this is minus Fx, this because it is in the minus x cap direction. This is this one. And you can also divide your T in the plus x and in the x and y component. So if this angle is theta, then this angle is also theta. So this is your T cos theta then, and then this will be your T sin theta. Okay. And it is mentioned that what are the distances that are there. So also there are some forces or load which is vertically downwards acting here. So 4 forces, 20, 20, 20, 20, all are separated by 1.8 and this distance is 4.5. And this is 3.75 plus 2.25. So 1.8, 4.5, 3.75 to 2.25. Now let's draw this. This is A, Q, I think this was ACBE. This was ACBE, and then this is BDF. ACBE. This is BDF is your. So this F is a point here, right? Now, once you have this, so you know from here there are four forces acting. In this case, this is all are separated by 1.8 meter. This is 1.8. So another 1.8, and this is again 1.2. All forces are 20 kilonewton for all of them. This is 20, it's also 20, and this is also 20. And this E is your origin point. So all the forces has to be taken with respect to, or torques basically has to be taken with respect to this. And this is 4.5 meter, this distance here. And this distance, if you talk about, so there is also a given that this measure is 2.25 meter vertically, and from here to here is 3.75 meter. So the entire distance is what? You have to just add up 3.75 plus 2.25, which is 6 meter, right? So from this diagram, you have a triangle like this, which is this triangle of, this is E point, this is F point, and this one is D point. This is DEF triangle, this is your 90 degree, and this is your theta, which is unknown right now. But this is 4.8 meter, 4.5 meter, and this entire length we have just calculated. This length is same as this length, so this is 6 meter. So what will be this length? So you have to use the Pythagoras theorem, which is 4.5 whole squared plus 6 squared whole square root. Then what you get is 4.5 squared plus 6 squared, basically 7.5 meter. Then your cos theta will be this by this, which is 4.5 by 7.5, and your sin theta component will be having a value this divided by this, which is 6 by 7.5. Right. Now let us balance out all the forces in the x direction. So one, this is this t cos theta, which is acting in the plus x cap direction. Then the other force is this contact force is x component, which is in the minus x direction of the value of minus 90 kilonewton x cap, which is mentioned in the question. If you think about it, all the other forces are in the vertically downwards direction. Like these forces are in the y cap direction. Okay, this Fy is in the y cap direction, and T sin theta is also in the y cap direction. So there are no other x cap directional forces except for this one and this one. And because there is a force balance condition in the mechanical equilibrium case, so this force balance has to satisfy that your T cos theta x cap minus your Fx x cap has to be 0. Or your T cos theta is 4.5 divided by 7.5 minus Fx is basically minus 90 kilonewton. This is the unit basically, and x cap, so this is 0, and basically because they are cancelling out in the opposite direction to each other, so T is basically 90 into 7.5 by 4.5 kilonewton. If you use your calculator, 7.5 into 90 divided by 4.5 is 150 I am getting. So 150 kilonewton. This is the tension that is acting along the rope BDF. So let us check whether the, so 150 is the correct answer. 150 kilonewton is the answer to the tension T. So this is also solved. Then question number 6 is that an idealized model of a loaded cantilever truss in mechanical equilibrium. Again, in mechanical equilibrium means force balance and torque balance is there. Now this is shown in the figure. Determine the tension T in kilonewton in the cable DF. So DF is this cable which is holding this whole thing onto this support. So obviously because this is pulling it to this support, balancing it, so T will be in this direction. So you can draw or extend this T in this direction, right? This is the tension T on this cable DF, which is supporting the truss. And the other forces mentioned in the diagram are this vertically downward 30 kilonewton and 20 kilonewton forces. And with the reference point you can choose as this point O, because this is like a strong base where the whole thing is basically being held, and then this is pulling it upwards with the tension T. So you can choose your E point as your reference point or as your origin point for the sake of the calculation purposes, and then basically you have to apply the torque balance condition of mechanical equilibrium. So with respect to this E point, there are these vertically downward forces, two vertically downward forces acting along minus y cap direction, and this is also in minus y cap direction. So if this is your plus x cap, so this is your plus y cap. So this direction will be minus y cap and this will be your minus x cap. So these two forces are in the minus y cap direction. And if you choose your r vector with respect to E to this point and this A point and C point, you see that they are along the minus x cap directions. So that this or this. Okay. So this distance is like, say, for EC vector. So EC vector is basically for the force 20 kilonewton. The EC vector is 5 meter times minus x cap is the direction. And for EA vector is 5 plus 5 is 10 meter is the magnitude and minus x cap is the direction. Right? And there is this for torque balance. Also there is another force, that is the tension T here. Okay, and this tension, if you look at this is at right angle with this cable direction. This is 90 degree. And so with respect to the reference point D, this distance is already mentioned as 5 meter. So your R vector for this case is ED vector, which is 5 is the magnitude, and there is some x cap and y cap mixed because this is not exactly in x or y. This is some combination of x and y is there. And you can look at the arrow direction, you can find out that this is basically has some minus x cap component and some plus y cap component. So both are present, right? So we do not go into the details of that direction because that will not be necessary to us. Because why? Because this tension T on the cable DF, the tension T has such a direction, the vector has direction like it is pointed out like this, so it can have components in the plus x cap and components in the plus y cap direction. So this has components along plus x cap and plus y cap. So when such a R and T vector is taken a cross product where this is ED vector times T vector, so what you get is that there is a minus x cap plus y cap type of a directional thing, and there is also a plus y cap cross x cap sort of a directional thing. So this is giving you minus x cap plus y cap is always y cap cross x cap. So what I am doing is basically when you take cross product to this, so component wise if you look at the direction, if you try to find out the direction, then you will see that x cap cross x cap is 0. Right. Then minus x cap cross y cap is y cap cross x cap, which is basically minus z cap. Right. Then again y cap cross x cap is minus z cap. So this is also minus z cap. And y cap cross y cap is 0. So total overall thing is having a direction of only minus z. So in the minus z cap direction. So from here now we apply the torque balance condition for question number 6 here. Okay. So if this is your reference point, so set E, and here there is this point from where the cable is DF is in the perpendicular direction. This is with respect to this has a tension T, this has vertical Tx and some Ty and horizontal Tx component. This angle is 90 degree. This distance is 5 meter. And there is this 30 and 20 acting, right? So this is 20 kilonewton and this is 30 kilonewton. Now this is 5 meter and this is 5 meter. C and this is A. So by mechanical equilibrium it means that this torque balanced with respect to reference point chosen at E, which we choose as our origin. Now net torque with respect to E is basically from these two what will be the torque. So first for 20 kilometers check again that whether the force values are correctly put or not. So 20 kilonewton is here and this is 30 kilonewton and this is 5 meter. So let's go back. Now the force for this case is EC vector cross 20 kilonewton minus y cap. Then for the second thing, this is EA vector, then 30 kilonewton, this direction is also minus y cap. Then there is this force, which is the tension in the cable DF, where T is perpendicular to this distance vector DE. So this is basically ED vector. This is the R vector in this case with respect to the reference point E. ED vector cross T vector. So this is a net torque. Now EC vector is basically 5 minus x cap cross this is 20 minus y cap. Then EA vector is 10 minus x cap cross 30 minus y cap. Then ED vector is basically 5. It has both x cap and y cap component. Okay, x cap and y cap both. I am not writing exactly what are the components, but you can like take the magnitude separately, and then there is some directional on both x cap and y cap. So this is basically minus x cap y cap from here into cross product of T. It has plus x cap and plus y cap as the directional components. So T value is unknown, that you have to find out. Now this minus and minus cancelling out, and x cap cross y cap is plus z cap. So 20 into 5 is 100 plus z cap. Then it is again plus z cap. So this is 10 into 30 is 300 plus z cap. Right, and then this is we are getting that this is direction is giving you minus z cap. So this is minus 5t z cap. So the whole thing is basically equal to 0 because the net torque is equal to 0 for balance, for mechanical equilibrium. So what you are getting is that 400 z cap is equal to 5t z cap. So t equal to 400 by 5, which is like 400 by 5 is 80, right? So this is 80 kilonewton is your tension in the cable. This is your answer. So this answer is right, 80 kilonewton. Now all the mathematical problems are done. For question number 7 and 8 are basically conceptual, which says that the number of degrees of freedom of the mechanism shown in this figure is. So degrees of freedom means how many number of independent directions are there for the systems to move, basically. So in this case you can see there is almost no translational motion possible, because this is like a sort of a, like what do I say, this kind of a structure. You know that either there is a pulling force P from here. So if you pull it from here, it will either shrink or expand. So while you are doing that, when you are pulling it in this direction, so it will stretch out. So then this angle will be reducing. This angle will be straightened out, and theta can go to 0 from theta. But then again, if you are pushing it back in this direction, then what will be that this theta will be maximized. So all this structure frame, all in any kind of motion that the structure frame can have independently is only based on the rotational direction motion, which is the rotational degree of freedom, that is theta. So only independent dimension of movement is equal to angle theta, which is your rotational degree of freedom, right? So this is the theta is your rotational degree of freedom. So this is the answer is 1. So it has only one rotation, only 1 degree of freedom. Now question number 8 is which of the following mechanism has 2 degrees of freedom? That means 2 independent directions to move, right? So for this first structure, you see that there are 2 kind of pulling forces. One is P1 vertically downwards, and one is this P2. But the only direction or dimension that is mentioned for it to move is x. So there is only 1. So here the degree of freedom is 1, because it can, if you push it, it can either go this direction or this direction. Same wise if you like act on this, so that also cannot like move it in any other direction other than x. So x is the only degree of freedom mentioned here. So degree of freedom is 1, not 2. Then again here the only dimension or degree of freedom I had mentioned, that is theta. So degree of freedom is again 1, which is in theta, angular degree of freedom. Okay, because if you play around with these pulling forces P1 and P2, you can change the theta. Then option number C, you can see there are two angular directions, theta 1 and theta 2 mentioned. So here the degree of freedom is 2 because there is theta 1, theta 2. There are two angular degree of freedom components. So if you play around this weightage and there is also a pulling force, you can change either theta 1 and theta 2 both, and they are independently they can be independently changed from each other. It is not like that if you change theta 2 that will affect theta 1. It will not, because there is this like junction point over here. So you can pull it down, so then theta 1 or the theta 2 will decrease or increase, but theta 1 will remain unchanged. And similarly you can again change it, which will change theta 1, but it will keep theta 2 unaffected. So here degree of freedom is 2. So our correct answer is option number C, which has 2 degree of freedom. And in the last question also you can see there is only a single dimension of movement given, which is this x direction, and here in this question x is given vertically upwards. So you can either pull down the masses m1 and m2. That will basically only play around with the direction of movement x. So x is the only translational degree of freedom. So here the number of degree of freedom is 1. So the only option where the degree of freedom is 2 is option number C. So this is the correct answer as we have answered. So with this we finish all the problems from this tutorial. So we will meet in the next tutorial.